Good evening, expectation. I was wondering where he was going with that sick man almost died thing, but I am honored to be here. I am humbled to be here. Excuse me. I work with a lot of groups. I'm leaving actually tomorrow, and then Sunday to work with a couple more church groups, and I'll be talking about you all because I'm very much inspired by you, by what you've done, how you've done it. Known Christian for 6 years. Hey, Steph. And he's exceeded anything that I can imagine in terms of leadership, stewardship, the way he does it. I don't know another pastor or pastor's wife who have master's degrees in math. When I tell people that, they're like, huh, what? How does that work? And are absolutely anointed. And just speak the word and steward everything God has placed in his hands. You all are a beautiful, beautiful audience. I wish you could see yourself. And I hope you know this would be an amazing turnout for a Sunday service for most churches. I don't know if you know that or not, right? We sometimes don't realize that we have just a blessing that we're part of. So I want to talk to you this evening about seeds and leadership, two of my favorite things. Anyone here a farmer? This is going to be interactive, oh, by the way. And nobody sat in the front seat. I don't spit. You could sit in the front seat, but anyway, and I don't tell jokes. Anybody a botanist, horticulturist? I don't know what you call a person, a florist? Lights plants. Okay, we got one or two people that like plants. Okay. So, a couple more. So, let me ask this. How many people have attended some type of workshop, event, training, whatever, around leadership? Show of hands. Okay. Almost everybody, right? How many people have attended any kind of workshop about seeds? 1, 2, 3, 4. The rest of you are not really aware. You actually attend service about seeds every Sunday, at least. Christian mentioned, I absolutely like to be behind the curtain more than out front. My joy, what God's put in me, is to see leaders succeed and achieve their goals and help them actually tap into the seeds that God has placed within them, whether they recognize it or not. And I think that's what great coaches do. Christian, I've known Christian for 6 years. Have you ever seen me without a cap? No. So the last time I didn't have a cap on to remind me to be in a coaching mode was at a funeral. The time before that was at a wedding. I'm totally thrilled that churches now I can wear my cap. And so I have a nice shaped head. I don't have an odd shaped head, but I keep this on, so I'm always looking for potential and opportunity and trying to encourage people to be the best that they can be. So I want to talk to you about seeds of leadership. You get fed seeds every Sunday at the very least. I get fed seeds because I watch your service pretty much. I've told Christian and I've told my pastor, I serve on our board, but I've told my pastor, if he ever messes up, don't worry, I know where I'm going. I'll be right here. Christian is my second favorite pastor. He is in the world. But I watch your service quite frequently. Recently teaching on not spending, but contributing regularly, as we're supposed to, right? Return what God has placed in our hands. So I want to talk about seeds. Everything that lives comes from a seed. Don't ask me about seedless watermelons or seedless grapes. They are mutants. They have been engineered from a defect. And over the years, they were spliced and they were diced and they were all of this kind of stuff until the tiny little seeds, actually, you can't even see them, but they still have seeds there. Right? They're asexual plants. I know this just because I looked this up. I don't care, but I figured somebody would say, hey, seedless grapes. So anyway, let's talk about that. Everything from a seed. Jesus, a seed that was going to crush the head of the devil. What seeds are in you? what seeds did God plant in you, and what do you do with those seeds? The seeds that are in us, the blessings that we receive from God are not just for us. He gives them to us so that we can actually share them with others. Let's keep going on the slides here. The leadership piece I want to talk about, there's nothing really in this world that's perfect, but we do have a model of leadership that is perfect. Jesus was the absolute perfect model of leadership. He served as a shepherd, he served as a servant, and he served as a steward when he fulfilled his purpose. Even as he was crying tears of blood, he did it, right? And he did it for us. And the model of leadership that Jesus leaves us is our hearts first, then our head, hopefully we have one head, our hands, and then our habits. And if we follow that, the question is, who do we influence? I don't know, I didn't look it up, but there's millions of definitions of leadership if you Google leadership, right? John Maxwell, who was a pastor, very well known, has written probably 50 books, simply says leadership is influence. I believe that, I subscribe to that. I believe it is influence, but I also believe it has an element of inspiration to it. And if those two things come together, then you have the ability to create impact that's larger than yourself. Leadership is not about tasks. Leadership is about people, right? You can manage things. You can't manage people. The only person you might be able to manage is in the mirror every morning. Maybe. If you can manage that person, then you may have the opportunity to lead others. But if you can't manage that person, you have no chance of leading other people, right? Let's keep going. So, you've got seeds. This is interactive. I want to hear you. What kind of seeds do you have? Children is a seed, absolutely. Grandchildren, absolutely. Second generation. There you go. She's got two winners. Come on now. Girl, boy, okay, a three-peat. Come on. What other seeds do you have? What seeds are in you? Gifts. Holy Spirit. Woo, that's a big one. Absolutely. What else? Skills. Absolutely. What else? Experiences. Absolutely. What else? Love as a seed. That's pretty deep. That's good. What else? What is it? Time. Yes, time. So the seeds of faith, seeds of truth, seeds of hope, seeds of worry, seeds of care, seeds of love, as someone said, to name a few, right? Everything we do potentially plants a seed. Every word we use potentially plants a seed. How many of you have been here for over 5 years? Show of hands. I know, Christian, put your hand down. I know you have. Okay, 20% or so. How about 3 years? A little more. How about less than a year? Okay, all right. So the people who have been here 5 years or more, you have seen some incredible transformation in this church, in this body, in the leadership, right? Because of seeds that have been planted. I talk about this church all the time. When I met Christian and first came to this church, it's a beautiful structure, but it looked like a sanitarium or something. It was just white on white on white. Now, the auditorium would still look like this, but from the outside, yeah, other than the name, it's like, what is that thing there? And it has been amazing to see the values, the core values that you have, not simply become something that's on a poster somewhere, not something that's simply on a T-shirt, even though nobody's giving me a T-shirt or a cap, hint, hint. But more importantly, to see them become fully integrated in who you are as a body, how you care for each other, how you care for your neighbors, how you care for those folks that you give 15% of your tithes. I don't know. I work with a bunch of churches. No other church is doing that. Not even close. Not even close. So you're living out what's been planted in you, which is an amazing thing. How many people like apples? We got anybody who doesn't like apples? There's a couple people. Okay, good for you for being honest. How many seeds are in an apple? 17. That was a great guess. That was like way off the mark, but that's a good guess. That's crazy guess. I love the boldness, the seed of boldness that's in you. I love that. Some real guesses, please. 6, 5, 8, 4. How are they organized within an apple? In the core. Within what? In the core. I know more about seeds today than I did 2 months ago. So within an apple, if you cut an apple crosswise, you're going to see basically what looks like a star design. And you're going to see 5 or 6, on average, little compartments. So if you bite into an apple, bite to the core, you get that little stuff that feels almost like plastic. Those are called carpels, like carpal tunnel. It's carpels. They are designed by you-know-who to protect the seeds. An apple has between 2 and 3 seeds within a carpels. So between 15, maybe you said 17, that's okay. So somewhere in there within an apple, which is pretty cool. But we don't do anything with the seeds, maybe, unless you're a farmer or apple, whatever. How many apples are in a seed? Excuse me? You can if you know how to count. Sure, yes you can. Yeah, there's a number. There's actually a scientific number. There's an average number. If you take a seed, a single seed, and plant it, and nurture it, and water it, and let it grow into all this stuff and become an apple tree, there's an average number of apples it will produce at maturity. Guess about that.
17.
17 times what? Who said 800? Who said 800? You said 800? Did you look at your phone? That's actually the number. That's actually the average number. Do you know that, or you just said that? So God put the seed of guessing in you. That's pretty cool. It is. That's the average number. 1 apple seed, 800 apples. So what is the point? The point is the seeds that are in you. What are you doing with those seeds? What is that seed? Do you know what the particular seed is that God put in you? He didn't design any of us by mistake. We all have a purpose. We all have something in us that is unique. That's a seed. What are we doing with that seed? Are you sharing that seed? Well, if you don't know what that seed is, it's hard to share it. How do you find out? He'll actually tell you if you seek it. You know? There's ways to find out. Next slide. I'm actually probably not even following my slides, but I think about the seed of influence. If we had more time, we'd go around the room, probably not everybody, we'd go around the room, and I'd love to hear, how did you get into this role you're in? Who influenced you to be in this role? Or inspired you? Skipping, that's going to be the next slide. But you were either influenced or inspired. You may have been harassed, but that's a form of influence, right? To be in this role. You didn't just show up. God may have actually influenced you. God may have inspired you. He may have put that seed in you to serve. And you may not even know why. There's some people, like myself, who is a self-proclaimed, absolute 100% extreme introvert. If I am not talking about, and Christian's heard this 15 times, if I'm not talking about God, family, or leadership in that order, I love my solitude as much as I love people. But I know, because of work and study and because of the people that God put in my life, I know what seed he put in me. He didn't put it in me to just sit and be fascinated, even though I would love to be behind the curtain versus right here. He didn't put this in me to just hold it for myself. So what seed did he put in you? Where's your influence that will return 8, 10, 20, 100 fold, right? Seed spread falls on rock. Some of it falls on good soil. What is the good soil? The metaphor, the soil is actually hearts. It's not dirt, it's actually hearts. And our seeds are our words or our deeds, however we touch other people. You're doing something that is exceptional, number one, by being here on a Friday night. You could be out doing something, I don't know. But there's no place better that you could be, not because I'm speaking, but because you're in this community, right? There's something special and unique about you. How are you magnifying that? Maybe so, maybe not. You're touching people, you'd have no idea what influence you're having on them. I walked in, so I parked on the side because that's where I always park, and that door was locked. So I walked around, and people were coming out, and so friendly. Even the kids were just happy, and yeah. It's just wonderful. It makes you feel good. It's contagious to be around people who just give that off, right? That's a seed of happiness, a seed of joy. But it doesn't do any good if we just hold it. I'm not saying anybody's intentionally holding it. I'm just asking you if you're aware of the seed potential that's in you. Next, your soil. What is your soil? I'm not asking you what kind of dirt you have at home. Our soil is really our hearts. Because all of this came about by God speaking a word, right? Jesus didn't command anyone to follow him. He called them, and they followed him. He influenced them, and then he inspired them, right? He did that by touching their heart. We have the ability to cultivate good soil. May not happen the first time, may not happen second time, it may not happen in your lifetime. My granddaughters' lives are influenced by people who poured into me that they will never know. They have no clue, just like this wonderful woman said here. They have no clue. And I had no clue really about what was happening when I was a knucklehead at 20 years old. And all this stuff kept happening to me, positive stuff. And it certainly wasn't because of me. It's because God had a plan for me. And eventually, I kind of sort of figured it out. This wasn't happening because of me. This was happening because there was a plan. And what was happening, more seeds were being poured into me and being planted into me until they finally took hold. And God's the one, right, that gives us the growth. We might water, we might do all these things. God's the one that gives us the growth. And so that's where we have to go to actually get our seeds fully nurtured, right? We can get influenced, we can get inspired, but God's the one that's going to give us the full growth. Let's keep going. Your impact, your service, again, you may not even know what impact you're having on people. That's not the point. That's not the point. Did you deserve the seed that you got? We didn't earn it. You clapped for me before I walked up. Nobody gives a tip before you eat. You didn't need to clap for me. I'm blessed to be here. It is a privilege to be here with you, seriously. But you may not know what impact you're having on others. And sometimes it doesn't actually matter. If you're doing the right thing and you're being consistent and you're being generous, he knows. And what better reward could you have than that? Keep going. Oh, I'm sorry, back up. Can you back up? Is there a reverse? So look at this flower. Okay, look at this. Anybody know what the flower is? Good. Keep going. Okay, I'm glad you don't. What? Violet? That's the color, but that's close. Okay, you get half a point for that. Care and harvest, as I said, just continue to do what you do. Let God take care of the growth. Let's keep going. So Can you all, I don't know if you can even see these, can you recognize any of these seeds? Quinoa. Which one's quinoa? What color? Gold. Okay. So the dark one is a chia seed. Now, if you're over 50, chia, they know what that is, right? It's a chia seed. What kind of plant does that come from? A chia plant, but yeah, of course. Duh. It comes from the little plant I just told you to look at. Who would ever know that that's where it comes from? And it doesn't come from it while it's alive. The head has to be cut off. It has to be dried. It has to then be wheat chaff, whatever they call that, to have the seeds come out of it. But that's where chia seeds come from. So again, the seeds that are in you are not in you just for you to keep. The greatest thing a leader can produce is more leaders. And so just like that one seed in an apple creates 800, how many seeds can you create from whatever's within you? Next, let's keep going. Call to action, you're already doing probably this, not probably, you're already doing this here. So I can't see it up there. I haven't even been following my slides here. Anyway, oh, I can't see it there. Be intentional. I don't want to turn around. You see how fat I am. You can already, that's why I got this thing, so you can't see how fat I am. Yeah, so embrace your leadership in serving. You are in a leadership role. I didn't ask you, but again, if we have more time, and I'm over by 19 seconds, if we have more time, I would ask you about your self-perception of your leadership in these roles. I do know from our church, so we've done something like this, that the team didn't think they were leaders. They didn't consider themselves leaders. I'm just serving. What? Excuse me? Excuse me? Serving is not leader? Is not leadership? Have you heard the concept of servant leader? Jesus was the greatest servant leader ever. Leadership is not necessarily telling people what to do or forcing or whatever. Serving, he gave us the example. You are in a leadership role because you have stepped up and you're doing what you're doing. Amen. Right? Appreciate that. It may be hard for you to appreciate that about yourself. There is a seed in you that has incredible value, but it only has more value if you share it. That's good. So be intentional. Be intentional when you spread your seeds of life, nurture and serve through care of others. You're already doing that. Let's keep going. I think I'm almost done. I need to look up there to see what you're looking at. Yes, so as you sow, so shall you reap. And again, your reward is going to be in lives. It's going to be in lives. You may not know, right? There's a quote about people who sit under trees, under the shade of trees that we plant that we will never know. That's not the point. That is not the point. He didn't give us these gifts. He didn't give us these seeds for our benefit. He gave it to us, blessed us to be a blessing to others.